welcome to another exciting edition of JN Circle Catch Up. Can you believe that it's our final episode of the Catch Up series? And what a great time we've had. We've had some very meaningful conversations with our JN team and our nurses and doctors who all provided substantive and practical information on how we can thrive even these difficult times brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Last week, we had a very insightful conversation with President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Carmen Johnson, about how nurses are coping and how they will be using a $1.5 million donation made to them by the JN Group and how we can support them even more so that they, in turn, can help our nation to overcome this disease. And today we'll be looking more closely at what some of our citizens have been doing to help as we take a trek with two of our JN Circle clubs in Brownstown and Christiana, and they're going to show us how they're supporting institutions in their communities. We'll also be catching up with the Executive Director of the National Council for Senior Citizens. She's Cassandra Morrison, and she's going to help us learn about how the people who are most vulnerable to this disease are coping. Just before we touch base with them, however, we always do a great recap of some of the measures being put in place to manage the local spread of COVID-19. We have now surpassed 500 cases of the disease, but the increases have largely been imported with no additional deaths, thankfully, and more, listen to this, than 100 people have recovered. So there are things to be thankful for. There are 3 communities in St. Mary who remained under quarantine until the 21st. The communities are Notta Bay, Enfield, and Dover. There's been a relaxation of the curfew hours, which will now be from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Bars and churches have been allowed to open with restrictions to ensure physical distancing, sanitizing, and temperature monitoring. CARICOM has also made a decision that CSEC exams will go on in July of this year. So far, unlike several other countries, Jamaica has experienced a fairly mild death rate from COVID-19, but it doesn't mean that we should take the situation lightly. Or elderly and those living with other conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and other ailments are still very vulnerable. And so we have to stay as healthy as possible so that we don't pass the virus on to them. We have to protect the vulnerable in our society. There are other ways in which this disease affects our elderly population and other vulnerable people. And to talk us through that a little bit is Cassandra Morrison, the Executive Director of the National Council for Senior Citizens. Hello, Cassandra, and thank you so much for joining me on JN Circle Catch Up. There have been so many changes for our seniors. How are they coping with all the changes that have taken place?
Oh my, what can I say? I think, Dahlia, it's senior citizens cope probably just like we are. This is a new situation for everyone. And I think for the most part, we are all just trying to get by daily, just trying to cope. We're trying to understand the information that comes to us on a daily basis and to try to comply as much as possible. It's difficult for everyone, and I would say in particular senior citizens, and particularly, well, now the Prime Minister recently said 65 and older, you are encouraged to stay in. And senior citizens, particularly Jamaican senior citizens who are ever so independent and up and about doing their own business, it's particularly challenging for them to remain at home. But for the most part, according to what we know, persons are complying with the stay-at-home order. They do have the opportunity to go out once per day to try and meet, the necessities of life as they were encouraged to do by the Prime Minister. And there are those persons in the community. Jamaicans are good people who just continue to support the senior citizens, the neighbors, the friends, the church sisters and brothers, So we are all trying to take care of each other.
Yeah. So you're saying that they fully understand what's happening and for the most part, they are adhering to the best practices Most of them are staying home, and if they have to venture out, they're doing all the things that they've been advised to do.
I would not say that all senior citizens fully understand.
Okay.
I think there are still some persons who, for whom, they are yet to understand fully why some of the restrictions are necessary and why they themselves are at risk. As I said before, lots of seniors, particularly those in the rural areas, are very independent, and the threat and risk of COVID-19 is not something you can see. And so probably because it's not so tangible, or unfortunately fortunately we are not seeing images in Jamaica of persons collapsing in the streets and things like what we see overseas. So I think it's yet to come home for some seniors. But we've been working with the Ministry of Health, trying to ensure that the messages are designed and crafted in a way that all senior citizens, despite their abilities, they are able to understand. And we also are working with the families and our volunteers on the ground to try and explain and remind them constantly of the need to comply.
Yeah, I was about to ask about families because, as you said, our senior citizens, they are very independent people. So, those who are at home with family, are family members helping to keep them safe? Are they helping them to manage their business by helping them to stay in, or do they go with them to conduct business to ensure that they don't expose themselves further?
Well, that's definitely the message that we are putting out. And in collaboration with our partners, the seniors would be aware by now of the Rona helpline that they can call in, and you can, request some assistance to help you to run an errand or to fill your medications. And we'd see all our other partners, such as the NHF, trying to help you to fill your prescriptions. And there are corporate entities like supermarkets who are trying to deliver, and just trying to make sure that the basic support service on the ground is there for seniors. But yes, we know of family members who are trying their best to protect the older persons in their households. I think the challenge is for those who live alone. And there are seniors who live alone, and they too are at risk of depression and
Yeah.
social isolation. And so we are trying to ensure that we are, trying to reach those seniors, whether it is through our offices, through our partners, the government agencies, or volunteers. And of course, the churches are doing an amazing job on the ground in terms of caring for senior citizens.
All right, Cassandra, one of the things I want to know is, because the seniors have been told you have to stay in, what are some of the things that you are doing to assist them to stay active and even to get more active than they would have been had they been allowed outside? What are some of the things that are happening?
Yes, Delia, thank you so much for that question. Well, one of our main partners is the Ministry of Health. And we would everybody would have known by now of the Jamaica Moves team. That was such an effective campaign, and the seniors will not be left behind. And so, therefore, we are continuing with the Ministry of Health to those who have access to the internet. The messages are there, and we have created videos that can help the seniors to do their fitness routine at home so that they can keep active. And the Ministry of Health was careful enough to design these activities in such a way that persons in wheelchairs, whether you were able, disabled, or fully able, you would be able to participate in some form of activity. And we're also using social media as well to get other messages out. We are trying to teach persons how to create exciting meals at home. that you can that are healthy, that you don't have to run to the supermarket all the time to make yourself a nutritious meal. But as the seniors say, you turn your hand and make fashion.
Yeah.
So we have that going, and there are also activities that we would have put on from the council throughout the years, and so therefore we are broadcasting those so that they are available for viewing. We are also uploading information on the ministry's social media pages and the website to make sure that seniors have access. And for those who don't, we have a network of volunteers whom we are using to make house calls just to, check up and find out how somebody's doing. What are you doing today? What are your plans? And they will share a lot. Many persons are in prayer groups, even though church is out, and lots of seniors do gardening, many do farming and backyard gardening ideas. So they are remaining quite active.
Active. Yes, I know that you've started a gardening competition as well for them to start doing their gardening at home. My mom's 80, she's learning how to use the computer for the first time. So,
Oh
yeah,
yes,
you're never too old to learn something new or to
yes.
develop a skill that you already had. So, I'm glad to know that our seniors are keeping active. For our part, what would you like Jamaicans to do to assist you as you help our citizens, our senior citizens, remain safe, remain at home, and remain COVID free?
Well, one of the main things that we would like Jamaica to do to help us to protect the elderly is really to comply with the rules as they are laid out by the Ministry of Health and the government of Jamaica. Not only are we protecting the elderly who are, considered most vulnerable, but we are also protecting ourselves. And we are also hearing now that children may be at risk as well. And we know that older persons love their grandchildren, and it is necessary. We don't want to look back post COVID and realize that we would have lost a generation of elderly persons because we were careless. So we are asking the public to just comply with the orders that are there, and outside of that, look out for senior citizens. They need your help, they need your assistance. Check in on them, find out how they're doing. And, when you can lend a hand, just do so.
Absolutely. I think also when we see them in public, if they have to join a line, give way, allow them to be
Yes,
served so they can get in and out quickly, and just extend common courtesy to them because, as I said,
yes.
they are gems. The Jane Group recently donated 1 million to the council to support its effort to protect our elderly population. What will these funds help to do?
Yes, and we were so excited. And I just want to say, on behalf of the council and my chairman and the ministry and Minister Robinson, we thank you so much for the donation. We will be able to provide a little over 300 persons with food and hygiene packages. And so your donation will go a very long way to making life a little easier for a senior citizen.
All right, thank you so much, Cassandra. We're heartened because our seniors are gems in society and we love them. We want to protect them. And so I'm very happy to hear the positive news that you've shared with us. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
We are resilient people and we're pressing on as a society, being neighborly to ensure that we get through these tough times together. Through the JN Welfare Fund, our JN Circle Clubs are also receiving assistance to work in their communities and empower residents. This evening, we're going to be catching up with our JN Circle Clubs in Brownstown, St. Anne, and also in Christiana, Manchester, to get a glimpse of what their clubs have been doing to ease the burden for residents and helping to build up their communities. We'll check in first with Dr. Ransford Davidson, JN Bank's business relationship and sales manager in St. Anne, and the JN Circle Club in Brownstown to see how they are helping to improve healthcare for residents in that area. First, Here is Ransford Davidson.
Hello, I am Ransford Davidson, Business Relationship and Sales Manager at the Jane Bank Brownstone and St. Ansby location. We are heading to the Brownstone Health Center in the cool hills of Brownstone, St. Ann. The Jane Circle Brownstone Club is a service club which is a part of a wider network of similar clubs across the island, powered by Jane members, for Jane members and the community. Jane Circles are organizations where Jane members can build friendships and empower each other and their communities so that we can positively impact lives and create a change in Jamaica. We are here at the Brownstone Health Center, one of the critical resources here in St. Ann that has been providing support to the people of the community. Of importance is the response to the COVID-19, and so Jamaica National is partnering with the Brownstone Health Center to provide support. We will be providing handheld thermometers along with a hand washing station and also chairs to support the whole matter of social distancing. As you can see, it is critically important that we support this process, and Jamaica National is keen on ensuring that we flatten the COVID curve as best as possible, and we are happy to serve our communities. What are some of the current challenges you face in providing healthcare services to the communities?
Well, the most significant challenges, as you can see, we have outgrown the space, the physical capacity of this building, serving 42,000 patients, plus in addition to having up to 120 people in this very small waiting room, really not a tenable situation. Also, we have services that should be here that are actually in other places. For example, the public health inspector's office is actually at a different location. So that is a major challenge we have in terms of physical space to serve the community. What I can tell you, which is great news, is that through the Health Systems Strengthening Program, which is funded by the IDB through the Ministry of Health, there will be a brand new Brownstone Health Center from 21-22. So we will look out for that, where all the services for the Brownstone, which is a district health center, will be right here. Everyone can come here and get the services, to include laboratory, as we already have, the dental services. Everything will be in this very location, one place.
That is fantastic news, and I'm sure our community will be much better for it, as well as healthier.
I expect so, and I encourage persons to use the services here at the Brownstone Health Center. You know, some persons may feel that if they come, it's going to be a long way, but I assure you, the best place to come for healthcare service delivery is at the health center first. If you need to get to the hospital, guess what? You are going to be advanced in line. At the hospital, you have to wait in line. Because once you come to the health center, you get what we call a referral, and that referral paper brings you to the hospital and you're seen immediately. No wait. So that if you want to know how to cut your time, that is how you cut your time waiting at the hospital. Come to the health center first.
That is fantastic news, fantastic information. And having considered all of that, how will the donation from the Jane Circle Brownstone assist in alleviating some of the challenges that presently exist with the COVID-19 response?
Well, one of the significant things that we have, as Nurse Carr had mentioned, we are seeing persons coming more persons coming to the health center. Not necessarily just for COVID, but generally more persons are coming. You can imagine, if somebody feels that they're having a cough, a little sniffle, a little fever, regardless of what it is, they are coming to check out what is going on. So definitely, we're seeing more people coming to the health center. Now, this donation will help us to send people through faster. A handheld thermal thermometer will allow us to check temperatures faster. Yes. So rather going under the arm is a simple point, get the recording, and we know what's going on. The chairs in the waiting area, that will help us on the outside. In order to maintain physical distancing, we need to we have put chairs on the outside to accommodate persons in waiting. And so the chairs help us to put the appropriate spaces in between so that we don't have people crowding against each other. And for those people who are having challenges with getting their hand sanitizers and so on, we expect that it's not so much so a challenge now, but at least we encourage people to wash their hands with soap and water. So the hand wash station will help persons to have access to soap and water to wash their hands, because nothing beats soap and water.
That is fantastic news, and we are indeed happy that this project undertaken by the JN Group will go a far way in creating a positive impact for the community. You have really clearly outlined how it will help. And when I was listening to your conversation, I wanted to give you probably a fist bump or an high five, but because of social distancing, but I guess we can still do this. Yeah. We really appreciate you, and we thank you for what your staff, frontline persons, have been doing for us with respect to protecting us and saving lives. My heartiest congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you, Dr. Davidson and the team from this, what is it called? Jamaica National Circle, JN Circle Club Brownstone. I want to also add that there's one more question that I want to add, that the public can support us at Brownstone Health Center by simply following the blocked appointment system that we have implemented as a result of COVID-19. Really, we wanted to implement it long ago, but this is just an opportune time. There is no need to come to the health center at 5 a.m. thinking that you're going to be ahead of the crowd. We give you a blocked appointment. 8 o'clock block, 10 o'clock block, 12 o'clock block, and then there's the afternoon 1 o'clock block. If you come in your blocks, you'll be seen in your blocks. If you come outside of your blocks, you're going to have to wait until your time comes. So we encourage you, follow the blocked appointment system, because it reduces the crowd that converges in this very small space.
See, listen, that's excellent news from Ms. Yunez, the parish manager at the St. John Health Department. And indeed, if you don't have to come and overcrowd the clinic, Tanaya.
Hi, Nurse Star. My question to you this evening is, what are the services you currently provide at the Brownstone Health Center?
Sure. Well, numerous services. Maternal child health, that includes antenatal, postnatal, child health clinics, family planning. We also have dental services, mental health, nutrition, curative, adolescents health, STI, which is sexually transmitted infections. I think that's the bulk of it.
So a variety of primary care services.
Sure, certainly.
But have you suspended any of your service offerings since COVID-19, or you still do all the primary services that you do, primary care services?
Yes, we try to maintain all, because the services are really important, relevant. People really need the services, so we try to accommodate all of them.
All right, thank you, nurse.
We are extremely happy to support them through this project initiative. We expect to provide a five-handed thermometer to support projects, a hand washing station, and also some chairs to support the whole idea of social distancing. We are happy to provide that support as a group, and we will continue to assist you and your staff fighting against it. Thank you.
So, St. Anne, as you can see, Jamaica National, we love our communities. Your health is important for us. Your security is important for us. Hence, we see it fit to invest in projects like these. Our giving the medical center time and thermometers, hand washing station, as well as chairs to support social distancing will help to flatten the curve. And we ask all of you to play your part in helping our medical health personnel to make this process easier. Jamaica National Group loves you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Davidson. Now we're going to catch up with Alethia Peart. She's a J.N. Bank's Business Relationship and Sales Manager in Manchester and the J.N. Circle Club in Christiana. And they're going to be assisting the Christiana Police to beef up their services in Northern Manchester.
Good afternoon. We're here today as members of the J.N. Circle. We're in Christiana, Manchester at the Christiana Police Station. The J.N. Circle has been formed by a number of persons coming together for the interest of the people, doing good for the community. Now, whilst we're here, we sought to find a project that could help to solve the problems that we're facing based on COVID-19. As a member of the Circle, Mrs. Olivia Swaby will tell you of her impression of the J.N. Circle.
As a member of the J.N. Circle, I am proud to say that it has allowed me to network, to meet more persons, more business people in the community. And of course, by so doing, I have grown personally, and I'm proud to be a part of handing over supplies to the Christiana Police. In addition to what we're doing here today at Christiana, we have been able to identify persons in need. There are gift vouchers, 25 gift vouchers that persons will be able to use right here in Christiana to provide for themselves, for their personal needs, for their own families as they try to endure during the COVID pandemic. Now, our first responders, today the police is a beneficiary. We saw their need and we responded. Inspector McCormack will tell you of what the J.N. Circle has done for him.
Thank you. And we can say this gesture couldn't come at a more timely time of the year. COVID-19 is being taken seriously by our police officers here. And as first responders to the crisis, we are exposed. And I must say thanks to JN again in a heartful way that we at Christiana were identified as part of this effort. We have received masks, hand sanitizers, detergents, and a snack counter to include snacks for officers working at night. So I must say a big thank you to JN at this time to identify us at this part of the island, so far away from others, as their first persons to be thought about at this time. Thank you again, JN.
Once again, the JN Group is committed to helping our persons, or not all your members, but to help everybody in need to find a way. This is how we do it. And the avenue right now is through the J.N. Circle. We encourage those persons who have a need, reach out to us, and we will try to see what we can do to help you to find a way. Thank you.
So as we end our catch-up series, I want to thank our guests and our J.N. Circle clubs in Brownstown and in Christiana for being a part of our final conversation. Not to worry, stay tuned to this page and be sure to follow our other J.N. pages on Facebook and Instagram for lots more interesting conversations starting next week. And remember, if you need help at this time with your mortgage, your loan, your credit card payments, your life insurance, small business advice, any kind of financial assistance that you need, you can visit the JN Group website. Here's the address: www.jngroup.com/COVID-19 help. That's www.jngroup.com/COVID-19 help, and you can get all the information you need on how JN Group is supporting you. Stay safe. Please follow the orders. Stay off the roads if you don't need to be outside. And as Agent Sasko would say, we're winning right now. So let's continue to defeat COVID-19 together. I'm Dahlia Harris. Thanks for staying with us.